Cersei Lannister. Picture this, you're born into the richest family in Westeros, but your main hobbies are vengeance, wine, and power grabbing. Welcome to the masterclass of Cersei Lannister, the original evil twin, the blueprint for I can do it better and bloodier. Cersei isn't just a dark genius, she's the final boss of political maneuvering. If Machiavelli ever lost sleep, it was probably because he dreamed Cersei was after his job. Cersei's IQ is less about solving math problems and more about creating ones no one else can even see. She weaponizes paranoia, breeds loyalty with gold, and makes every family dinner an Olympic sport in gaslighting. Raised by Tywin to see love as weakness and siblings as potential liabilities, Cersei's main skill is turning trauma into a strategic asset. Ask Jaime, her twin, her lover, her personal henchman, or maybe don't if you want to keep your appetite. She'll scheme, seduce, and even commit regicide if that's what it takes, and she'll do it all in heels. While the men play war, Cersei plays the Game of Thrones like it's 4D chess on a burning chessboard. She poisons, manipulates, blackmails, and incinerates her way to the Iron Throne, breaking centuries-old glass ceilings and a couple of city walls while she's at it. She out-paranoids Littlefinger, out-hates Tyrion, and outlasts more husbands and lovers than most reality TV stars could manage. Her paranoia is so legendary that even the walls of the Red Keep start sweating when she walks by. Is her reign doomed to collapse under the weight of her own brilliance and cruelty? Always. But here's the thing, in the world's deadliest political contest, no one ever wrote the rules quite as darkly or as ingeniously as Cersei Lannister. Drink to that, but maybe not the wine she pours you. James Moriarty. There are criminal geniuses, and then there's Professor James Moriarty, the man who makes global catastrophe look like a side hustle between math lectures. On paper, he's a Cambridge prodigy, a champion boxer, and a published academic who wrote the book on asteroids. Off the record, he's orchestrating wars for profit, manipulating governments like chess pieces, and plotting from the shadows so deeply even Sherlock Holmes needs a searchlight. Moriarty's brand of genius is the kind that could bankrupt the world before breakfast and have tea with the Prime Minister by noon. He doesn't just plan crimes, he engineers history. He finances anarchist movements in France, rigs assassinations in Vienna, and invests in steel, cotton, and opium, all to profit off the industrial carnage he's manufacturing. When it comes to plotting world war for personal gain, this guy is 2 steps ahead of everybody and 1 step away from twirling a mustache if he wasn't too busy reciting Schubert. His mind is so cold and precise that even Sherlock, the king of deduction, ends up as just another piece in Moriarty's multidimensional chess match. Whether he's threatening to erase Holmes, torturing adversaries, or calmly clearing out a restaurant before poisoning his own ally, every move is deliberate, merciless, and wrapped in velvet courtesy. There's never a wasted threat, never a slip of rage, just icy logic and a promise to destroy delivered with a smile. What makes Moriarty truly terrifying isn't just his intellect, it's that he weaponizes genius itself. Empathy? Unnecessary. Conscience? Outdated. The game is the point, and if entire continents have to burn for him to win, that's just collateral. In the Darkest Genius Hall of Fame, Moriarty isn't just in the exhibit, he's the curator, selling tickets and already planning the next big event. Hannibal Lecter. Most masterminds write manifestos or sell out lecture halls. Hannibal Lecter prefers to host dinner parties where you might end up on the menu. Genius isn't just something he possesses. It's the weapon he sharpens daily, carving his mark across continents, institutions, and the unlucky. This is a man whose brain could probably beat Deep Blue at chess while simultaneously composing an opera and planning an escape route, all before dessert. Born into aristocracy, fluent in 3 languages before he was tall enough to reach the counter, Lecter spent his childhood solving geometry problems and inventing his own nightmares. Trauma? Sure, try surviving a Nazi invasion, orphanhood, and the cannibalistic murder of your baby sister, all before puberty. Most people would go to therapy. Hannibal just became the therapist, and a surgeon, and a museum curator, and, well, a legend. Hannibal's brand of genius is clinical, stylish, and terrifyingly meticulous. He can analyze your childhood trauma before you blink, then rewire your brain with a single question. And you'll thank him for the insight as he steals your wallet, your secrets, and maybe a few vital organs. He doesn't just outthink people, he curates them. The man builds a memory palace the size of a museum, outsmarts FBI prodigies, and escapes maximum security with nothing but a pen and a penchant for mischief. Every victim, every meal, every escape is art. His standards, impossibly high, offend his palate or his sense of courtesy, and you might end up as the chef's special. Yet, for all his monstrous brilliance, Hannibal's crimes are almost elegant. It's not sadism, it's aesthetics. Even his enemies, from Will Graham to Clarice Starling, can't help but admire the intellect that stalks them. He's the mind behind the madness, the gourmet behind the gore. If darkest genius is a spectrum, Hannibal Lecter is the prism that shatters all the light. Amy Dunne. If there's a genius hall of fame for people who make you question reality itself, Amy Dunne is standing at the entrance, smirking, and probably rewriting the rules as we speak. Dark intelligence? She's got it in spades. Amy doesn't just outsmart everyone around her, she practically invents new dimensions of mind games, like a Rubik's Cube that solves you back. Forget playing chess while everyone else plays checkers. Amy's playing something closer to Saw, Monopoly, and gaslighting bingo all at once. Raised as the blueprint for a perfect child. Thanks, amazing Amy. She learned early that perception is everything and the truth is, well, optional. She weaponizes every bit of her Ivy League brain, not to build something, but to control everything. The woman writes quizzes for a living, then turns her own life into a choose-your-own nightmare. Husband cheating? Please. Amy reverse engineers her own murder, plants evidence, fakes diaries, runs psychological circles around cops and TV hosts, and drags half of Missouri into her web, all for revenge that's more performance art than payback. It's like she took every red flag in the DSM and turned them into a TED Talk. Even when the world tries to shut her down, thanks, amateur robbers, she pivots, exploits an obsessed ex, and turns captivity into the plot twist of the decade. By the time she returns, soaked in blood and trauma, the public is eating out of her hand. Nick, he's a side character in Amy's narrative, doomed to dance on her strings for at least 18 years. Amy Dunne is proof that genius, unbound by conscience, doesn't just outthink you, it makes you question if free will was ever real in the first place. John Kramer. You think your local escape room is tough? John Kramer would call that a warm-up lap. As the mind behind the Jigsaw persona, John's genius isn't just about mechanical traps or Rube Goldberg gore fests, it's about rewiring what it even means to deserve life. This is a civil engineer who decided the real world needed less safety railings and more existential terror. When cancer gave him a death sentence, John didn't wallow. He built an entire philosophy out of pain, grief, and loss, and then used that as the blueprint for a living nightmare. But here's where his genius goes dark. John isn't just playing God, he's teaching lessons with body counts. Every game is a savage TED Talk where the stakes are your limbs, your secrets, your will to survive. Forget vigilante justice. Jigsaw turns trauma into curriculum. Think Saw meets Socrates, but with more reverse bear traps. Every test subject from hopeless addicts to insurance CEOs gets a shot at redemption if they can hack their way through his ethically bankrupt obstacle course. He doesn't kill indiscriminately. He chooses, observes, plans. He studies you, exposes your sins, and hands you the tools to mutilate or liberate yourself. All while leaving a calling card shaped like a jigsaw puzzle piece, just in case anyone missed the metaphor. His helpers, apprentices really, join not out of fear, but because he outsmarts and outbroken souls them at every turn. Jigsaw's lessons are so twisted, even his accomplices end up traumatized, yet they keep his legacy alive, passing down the gospel of pain like it's the world's deadliest chain letter. The darkest part, John believes he's saving people. That's the horror and the genius. He's a man who turns dying into a mission statement, with enough creativity, logic, and malice to make even the most brilliant psychopaths look like hobbyists. In the gallery of dark geniuses, John Kramer is the architect who designed the exit and locked all the doors behind him. Lex Luthor. Walk into Lex Luthor's office and you're met with the smell of expensive cologne, genius-level anxiety, and a whole lot of trophies he probably gave himself. The world sees Superman as hope incarnate. Lex, he sees a cosmic prank. While Metropolis cheers the alien savior, Luthor paces in his control tower, muttering about Galileo and how envy isn't a sin, it's an evolutionary engine. Some billionaires collect art, Lex collects grievances, and each one becomes a master plan with a body count. Luthor's dark genius is pure weaponized resentment. It's not enough to be CEO of Luthor Corp, creator of black hole bombs, or inventor of the world's worst motivational speeches, kill Superman, get donuts. He needs the universe to kneel and recognize that it's brains, not brawn, that should run the show, even if that means selling half a country for a shot at undermining Superman, cloning his own nemesis, or unleashing kaiju on city blocks just to score a psychological point. His obsessions mutate into elaborate revenge operas. Got a rival company? Turn it into a war zone? Send Metallo. Need to destabilize a hero? Rig public opinion? Kidnap dogs? Leak messages? Play Russian roulette with hostages? Then sit back and watch the Justice Gang squirm. Luthor doesn't settle for victory. He wants humiliation, public spectacle, the kind of plot where even the rescue ends in existential dread. And if the world burns, well, Lex will just invent a pocket universe, fill it with his enemies, and move in like it's a vacation home. In the end, it's not Superman's powers he despises. It's what they reveal, that for all Luthor's intellect, he can't rewrite the story where he's the hero. Darkest genius? Lex Luthor makes it personal, because his brain's greatest weapon isn't invention or cunning. It's spite, engineered into destiny. The Joker. You know that feeling when Chaos walks into the room wearing a purple suit and everybody else starts checking for the exits? That's the Joker, a man whose mind doesn't just break the rules, it redefines what a rule even is. His genius isn't the kind that solves problems, it invents nightmares, then cackles as Gotham tries to make sense of the punchline. Joker's brand of dark intelligence isn't about getting rich or running the city, it's about turning sanity itself into an inside joke. One day he's orchestrating a bank heist with more plot twists than a soap opera. The next he's burning a mountain of mob money just to prove a point. Everything burns, especially order. Nobody knows who he really is, not the cops, not Batman, maybe not even himself. His origin stories change every time he opens his mouth, each more tragic or absurd than the last. It's not deception, it's performance art, madness as method acting. His games push everyone, mobsters, mayors, heroes, off the deep end. And his traps aren't just lethal, they're existential. Ferry boats become philosophy experiments. Harvey Dent's coin flip becomes Gotham's moral collapse. The Joker isn't playing chess with Batman, he's playing Russian roulette with society's soul. And he's got blanks and live rounds in equal measure. Fear? He weaponizes it. Empathy? He mocks it. Strategy? The man improvises like a jazz legend in the middle of a car chase. He wins when Gotham loses itself, and if he can turn the city's White Knight into a scarred villain, all the better. The real horror. His genius doesn't want anything but proof that the world is just one bad day away from the punchline. In the gallery of darkest minds, the Joker is the curator, smiling, chaotic, and always 2 steps ahead of your last good night's sleep. Walter White. Some people break bad when life pushes them. Walter White re-engineers the entire concept of bad and patents it with a periodic table. On the surface, he's just a mild-mannered chemistry teacher, a man with khakis, a car wash job, and a cancer diagnosis. But under that beige exterior simmers a genius so dark it turns methamphetamine blue. Every move, every reaction is calculated, weaponized, and driven by the kind of pride that could split an atom or a family. Walter's transformation from suburban dad to drug lord isn't about desperation, it's about taking back the narrative. Fired up by decades of humiliation and buried ambition, he becomes Heisenberg, an alter ego who doesn't just outthink enemies, but dismantles their entire ecosystem. He's not content with making the purest meth in history. He wants to build an empire and destroy anyone who doubts his mastery, whether it's cartel bosses, federal agents, or the unlucky pizza delivery guy whose pie lands on the roof. His genius is surgical, turning chemistry into criminal architecture, rigging explosive deals, improvising ricin from household goods, and laundering fortunes through a car wash while reciting Walt Whitman. He manipulates allies, shatters foes, and even engineers his own legend. I am the danger. I am the one who knocks. Pride, not cancer, is the terminal condition here. By the end, Walter's intellect has burned everything. Friends, family, city, even himself. He's the kind of genius that can create a fortune and erase a life in a single calculation. Darkest isn't hyperbole, it's a yield sign. In the end, Walter White proves that the scariest mind in the room is the one convinced it's owed something and smart enough to collect with interest. And there you have it, 8 minds that rewrote the rules of darkness, each in their own flavor of genius. Some craved power, some chaos, some just wanted to prove a point no matter how many lives got scorched in the process. If there's one lesson here, it's that intelligence without a conscience is less a superpower and more of a supervillain starter pack. So next time someone calls you a genius, maybe double check how many body counts are in your shadow. Did we miss your favorite dark mastermind? Drop it in the comments below, unless you're secretly plotting our downfall. In that case, good luck outsmarting us. Until next time, keep your plans clever and your morals at least somewhere in the equation. See you on the dark side of brilliance.